Welcome to Morning Chit with Eric Fell. I'm the host of Morning Chit with Eric Fell. Eric Fell, and I got to tell you, I'm thinking about changing the chit day. That's what I'm thinking of doing. I'm thinking there's going to be a day when we're all kicking around, and we can all chit together. Have a group chit. Just sit around chitting. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's my first thoughts. I'm getting I'm getting some because first of all, of course, if you hadn't known, we used to do this on Twitch, and it was great. We had a nice, fun, regular audience. But then Twitch went, the name Eric Fell is offensive. I don't know why. Maybe it's offensive to the people that own the large companies, because I'm a big deal. And on the Discord right now, I'm getting, which by the way, you should join the Discord so you can see all the messages from, for example, our friend Scribbles says, I'm at the office today. I'm going to have to miss today's chit. I can't log into Google services, right? Because we've had to move in. So we lost all our randos from Twitch and our regulars from Twitch. We've got our pal Doodlebug83 at the airport. I heard there's internet at the airport, Doodlebug. So I'm thinking should probably change up the day. So I'll put a poll in the Discord as soon as I figure out how to do a poll and figure out which day is the best day for the morning chit. I'm not sure Thursday's an ideal day because, like I said, we kind of started from scratch again, and just it was like we lost all people tuning in. Hey, what's this? What's this? Because YouTube doesn't have that kind of discovery. And if they're discovering, they're certainly not discovering a guy in the fading days of his 40s, desperately trying to get attention by talking about, action figures and cursed images. And that's fine. So we got to figure out how to gain momentum here on the YouTube. I could try going back to Twitch again, but you know what's going to happen. They're just gonna suspend me again. Maybe I'll give it a shot about Twitch before going on to the other days. I don't know. Listen, I don't know how any of it works. How long we've been chitting here? 2 years? No, it's not 2 years. It's 2 years in August. About a year and a half. And yeah, so it was great. It was, we were cooking with gas over on the Amazon owned place, but the Google owned place, for some reason, announcements aren't going out to the folks that the stream is happening. We're not sure what's going on. We do have Ukes of Hazard. Chit happens, but when? Vote now. Decision 2026. That's exactly what's happening. Ukes of Hazard. We're gonna vote on the Discord. Although I may not do Mondays because I might have a special idea for Mondays. And I may not do Fridays because Fridays are very frequently good days for the sort of daytime corporate gigs that I do. And as you can see, Thursdays aren't the most hopping day. Wednesdays are tough for me too. So it's looking like Tuesdays are hard because it's a Tuesday. So listen, all of them are equally ideal choices for morning chit. Right? The thing about like doing Mondays is it's occasionally a stat holiday, which might work in our favor with the chittery. And Ukes of Hazard, how are you doing? How is your week been? I've had a very uneventful week. Let me know. I'm going to have a sip of this water in this blue-gray IKEA cup I got for $0.25 of $1. I thought the latency was lower than that. Sorry. I did set it up for low latency. I swear. Yeah, we'll see what happens. So yeah, let me know how your week is going. I do know Switch Credence is going to be a little late. Switch Credence is in Birmingham, not Alabama. The real one. Yeah, you heard me. looking after their sister-in-law's kids, but will be starting the drive home in about 10 minutes. Takes them about 45 minutes to get home. So they're driving in their fancy Mercedes. They're chilling out. They're listening to, let's see, Birmingham to London. Let me think. What would they be listening to? Got it. I'm not telling you what it is, but I'm pretty sure I know what it is. I'm just imagining they're blaring some either Britpop, probably Britpop. Now, in the Britpop world, are you Blur or Oasis? That's a big question. I got no skin in the game. But Ukes Hazard had an uneventful week. You're working and sleeping mostly. Oh yeah, sleeping. I could not for the life of me. I got to sleep last night pretty late because I was looking up obsidian, not the mineral, but the app, the program, the software, and seeing if that can help my workflow at all. I think it might. And I hate using terms like workflow. It makes me feel like an asshole. Workflow. No, thank you. So I stayed up all night. And then I went and finally went to bed. I get in bed and, the alarm goes off at 5. Katie leaves. I get back in bed, go to sleep. And then I have a horrible nightmare that I've been accused of blowing up a building or something, and it's going to trial, and it's real scary. Cause I didn't in real life or in the dream. It didn't do that awful thing. And then I actually woke up. It was such a bad, but it's not like it was a bad and realistic nightmare. I woke up with a sense of relief. I woke up going, oh, thank goodness. The dream was so bad, I was relieved to be here in 2026. That's how bad that dream was. It was nightmarish, one might say. Ukes Hazard, you finally watched Wonder Woman last night. Can I tell you something? I have not seen it. How is it? Is it good? I like Ben Kingsley. Ben Kingsley's in one of my favorite movies, Sneakers. He's also in another one of a movie I love, Sexy Beast. If you ever want to hear some of the greatest swearing in any movie of all time ever, find Sexy Beast. It's not the easiest to find. We had to get our DVD copy from a thrift store for $1. And so we have it, a physical copy of it. But I'm sure that those of a nautical bent would be able to find it if it ain't on any streamers. Yeah, you know what? That's what it was. I was framed whence the dream happened. I was framed by the guy who kept reporting Eric Fell as offensive. And you know who thinks Eric Fell, you know who's reporting me. I know exactly who it is. We figured it out. It's this guy. Sorry, Ukes. I hope the volume, I got to fix the volume on that. I think the volume might've been a little too much on there. As you can see, I am quite well caffeinated, and the 5 hours of sleep I got is considerably more than the 3 or 4 I usually get. So I'm full of energy. So if I like Ben Kingsley, I do. It's a good watch. He hams it up. I also like ham. I bought some ham and some pastrami the other day, where Katie and I, look, we have switched up our sandwich game. I didn't take any pictures because we were too busy enjoying it. Now, once a week, I go get some fresh Portuguese buns, and then we go to the deli, and when we get some tomato, we get whatever, and then we make sandwiches. So I took the pastrami, I took the ham, I put it in a little mound, popped that on the frying pan, put it on the frying pan for 2 minutes, flip to the other side, slap some Swiss on it. Boom, done. What? Take the Portuguese bun, get some some mayonnaise, just regular mayonnaise. It's fine. Regular mayonnaise is fine. And you take some nice, whatever mustard of your choices on the other one. Some tomato. Here's the thing. Here's what you put on the mayonnaise. Dill, fresh dill. We're putting fresh dill in our sandwiches, and a lot, not like oh, here's a little tiny. No, like a fistful of lawn clippings of dill, and you eat it and you don't get the taste of the dill right away. It's after a few bites, boom, it hits you, and it's wonderful. Try fresh dill, and it's like $2.50 for like more than I know what to do with. Like we're gonna have to throw out that dill because it's like $2.50. So much. Yeah, there's so much. So yeah, we do our we do sandwich night now, and I mean in no small part influenced by Barry from Sandwiches of History. In fact, when I did make the sandwich, I did the full Barry. Okay, let's give this ham and pastrami sandwich with French Emmental, mayonnaise, grainy mustard, fresh dill, and tomatoes a go. And then I ate it, but I didn't rate it. I ate it, but I didn't rate it because I don't like rating things. I just had a friend who used to be obsessed with lists and would get very upset at me when I would not rank things. Obsessed with everything needed to be ranked. Everything needed to be in a specific order. Like, Eric, what's your 4th favorite candy bar? I don't know. I can tell you 4 that I like, and you can pick one. And he was like, no. You have to pick. You have to rank 4. I can't rank 4. So yeah, I'm not, because it depends on the day. I'm an easy, breezy, beautiful cover girl kind of guy. One day could be Kit Kat, one day could be Coffee Crisp. I mean, usually just, we all know my favorite candy bar is the one that's in front of me. And I need to watch that. I saw some video myself. Oh boy, I gotta start taking care of the old ticker and start eating better. Maybe I should stop frying pastrami and putting cheese on it. Maybe that'll help. Maybe cut down on the fried ham. It's a thing I could do. Will I do it? I don't know. Because I love food and I'm lazy. I don't like to move around a lot. All right. But I gotta start going on walks again. I was looking at myself. I saw this shot of me. I'm like, oh, I am. Yeah, pre-pandemic, I was in a lot better shape. I mean, we all were. Also, that was 6 years ago. Pre-pandemic. Because that'll start at 6 years. That's not 6 years. But I look at myself then, I look at myself now, and I'm like, okay, yeah, there's been, look, we've all been through some shit. And one of the things I've been through is the discovery of home beer delivery. And that did not help the old caloric content. The kidney stone sure as hell did. Boy, did I drop weight fast when I had that kidney stone. Boy, the weight just melted off. I'm not wishing for another kidney stone, but maybe I should go back on the diet that I was on when I had the kidney stone. And it was, although I was miserable. Yeah. Ukes of Hazard, you're saying doctors, what do they know? Takes drag of cigarette and a bite of fried Snickers bar. I've tried the fried Mars bar. It didn't do a lot for me. And the cigarette thing, you just reminded me of this guy that I knew when I was a kid. He used to smoke. I'm like, and he's like, yeah. And he did like the whole hack. He did this hack thing. People say that cigarettes take years off your life. They're really only taking years off of the end. No, they take your 30s. You're 28, 29. Next thing you know, you're 40. It takes your 30s from you. That's what smoking cigarettes does. Not, oh no, it's on the end. No. It takes the middle ones. It takes a bunch of the middle ones. And that's why people looked older than they do now. Because all those cigarettes. Also, I loved watching when you're watching things like Sandwiches of History, they start doing the old recipes. And they're doing recipes from the 50s and 60s. And you're like, why is there so much? Everything is so salty. Everything is like, we need anchovy paste and salt. and cheese and this and that. And me and Katie and I were trying to figure this. We're like, why were they all like that? And then it hit us. Everybody smoked. So everybody had damaged taste buds. That's one of the reasons I think why there's like people with more subtle, like why people are having more subtle and refined palates, because they're not coating their tongues in nicotine. Right. So, right. And we're not smoking and we're wearing sunscreen. That's why we're looking better, but we're tasting things better because everybody's not smoking. Yeah. So Ukes of Hazard about the deep fried Mars bars. You've never tried it. You're pretty unhealthy. And even they seemed like a bit too much. Yeah. There's some things I just go, no, it's not worth it. So I'm trying to figure that out. I did make some nice pasta last night though. Katie and we were going to go out. We were going to go out. It's like it's date night. We're going to have fun. And then I just went, let's see what we got in the cupboard. Well, we have so many packets of dried pasta. So I got some gemelli and boiled that up. And speaking of unhealthy, I made a sauce out of butter and Parmesan and garlic and onion and sun-dried tomato. Tossed it all up. Boom, done. Delicious treat. Delicious, dangerous, deadly treat. Butter and cheese sauce. Oh, yeah, it's so good though. I mean, I gotta tell you, it is so good. Isn't that why people always gain weight when they quit smoking? They get their sense of taste back and they're like, what? Food is flavor. Yes, food has flavor. So they're enjoying it, but also, nicotine is a stimulant, right? So you're cutting a stimulant out of your life. And that's why you might gain some weight. Now, some other folks, they wind up actually like, some folks, when they stop drinking, they'll lose weight. Some folks actually maintain their weight and gain it a bit when they quit drinking. And one of the reasons is because I found out that, you can get really, like if you just cut out drinking, you can get serious sugar cravings, right? Because that's what alcohol is. Alcohol is just fermented sugar. Alcohol is sugar gone bad. It's just that. It's just rotten fruit. But you cut out the alcohol and you can suddenly get huge sugar cravings. So that's something that if I was to cut out completely, I would probably have to watch out for. I don't normally have a sweet tooth. I've got a savory tooth. You put a piece of cake in front of me with a bunch of icing on it, and you put half a rack of, ribs in front of me. I'm going for the ribs. I'm going to ignore the cake and go straight for the ribs. I have a savory tooth. I will go for cheese and meat before I hit the cake, before I hit the pie, unless it's pumpkin pie, because pumpkin pie is a magical thing. And of course, also the various meat pies that are out there. Yeah. So I luckily, I mean, I'm not a smoker. I've never been a smoker. I mean, not of tobacco. And I don't think I've had like a joint in 20 years. Right? Like when weed became legal in Canada, or decriminal, when weed became available at stores, I was just like, oh, there's gummies. I can have a gummy. Why would I bother filling my lungs full of smoke? I can just have a gummy. And one of the things I like about getting them at stores, getting stuff like that at stores, is how much you're getting in each thing. I have a friend whose partner makes a little cupcakes, and the little cupcakes are filled like she makes them homemade, and there is just no control over the amount that's in each one. And I remember being backstage at a show, not Critical Hit Show, so don't try to figure out who it is from the Critical Hit Show cast. There's nobody in the Critical Hit Show cast. But I was at a show and there's a bunch of comedians back there, and he shows up and he's like, oh yeah, my partner made the cupcakes. And every single comic refused them. We can't, because we're going to eat one. It's going to be a cupcake, or we're going to eat one. We're going to fall over. So that's what I like about the sort of controlled thing. One of the reasons why I took like a bartending course, so that I know exactly how much I can serve. Right. if you're going to serve alcohol for people, folks, keep track of how much you're serving them. Like, serve them in actual ounces. Don't free pour. Actually, like, I'm going to make, if I'm going to make you a drink, I'm going to make you a drink. Okay. Get the stuff. Just trust me. It may help you out in the long run legally. Yeah. Ukes of Hazard, you're saying if your weight loss journey is any indication, the ribs are a much healthier choice than the cake. That's the other thing too. I gotta cut that stuff out. Cause like, I'm not super crazy about it, but when was the last time I had cake? Well, I had donut. I had a couple of donuts, on February 24th, because February 24th was, and always will be, Twin Peaks Day, the day that Dale Cooper enters the town of Twin Peaks, February 24th. So we got some Lee's donuts. We enjoyed some Lee's donuts. I had 3, says the guy without a sweet tooth. 3. So yeah, it's just like, okay, I gotta cut that nonsense out. Cause you know, I'm 50 in 3 weeks. I have 21 days left of being in my 40s, 21 days left of being just that tiny bit more relevant than I will be after March 19th. I don't mind telling people what my birthday is. My birthday's March 19th. Guess what? It's on the IMDb. Somebody put it up there. It's out there. I was born March 19th, 1976. It's out there. It doesn't matter. But yeah, if I'm going to have donuts, I'm going to have the good stuff. So we did that. We had the good donuts. Yeah, so I got to figure out, I bought this saute pan that I made the sauce in. I'm going to veg it up. I'm going to just vegetables. And then I'm going to be horribly hungry because I'm just eating vegetables. Maybe get some stuff in there. Right. I got the, cause the kidney thing, I do have to watch the sodium. I don't always, but you know, when I make stuff, I can control the amount of sodium. Like when I make, say, a nice tomato-based sauce, the passata that I use has no sodium in it. The tomatoes I use have no sodium in it, and that cuts down so much of the sodium. But I was like, oh my gosh, we got the saute pan. We could do some stir fries. Let me grab some teriyaki sauce because I'm too lazy to make my own. Grab the teriyaki sauce in the store, immediately put it back. 1 tablespoon of this sauce was 610 milligrams of sodium. 610 milligrams of sodium. So I'll have to try to figure out how to make my own. But like what can you do? Soy sauce is soy sauce, right? It's salt. It's salty. I don't know if it's actually salt. I know there's soy in it. I know it's a sauce. But yeah, it's a little too sodiumy for me. I found that when I cut out the sodium, if I eat something that's really salty, it's like extra salty now. So like how when I cut out sugary pop, I cannot have like a full can of Coke. I cannot do it. It just will not work for me. What I do like is, I like a beer. This is another thing. I like a beer. I like a couple of beers. But that's also a reason why I am of this size. And I think that's a large contributing factor. That and the close by A&W and the decisions I make meal wise after a few drinks. I think it's also a big one. But so what I want to do is I want to be able to keep having the beer because I enjoy it. I'm choosy with my beer. Right. So it's like, I could go up to, I'm walking distance from a couple of different liquor stores. But they don't have like really, really amazing beer, right? They don't carry stuff from like Brass Neck or, Boombox or anything like that. They do have some decent ones. I think one of them carries Superflux, which is like top tier IPA. By the way, Ukes, we got to go to Superflux. If you enjoy a hot dog, they do hot dogs there and they're good. Katie and I went, you should come. It's nice. They got some of the best beer in town and they got hot dogs. Yeah. Eric needs to lose weight. Want to go for hot dogs and beer? You can see the problem here. Yeah. So what I need to do is I need to eat less crap and I need to move around more, but I still want to be able to go out and have hot dogs and beer. So, yeah, I think we're just gonna stop ordering takeout so damn much. And I love takeout. I think takeout is like a big thing for us in the winter. Because it's just like, oh, look at the weather. It's crap. It's raining. It's cold. It's dark out. I don't want to walk to the grocery store to buy dinner. I don't want to walk to the any restaurants. We got some really nice restaurants around us. So yeah. So I think what we're gonna do, I'm gonna cook more, have more control over what I make, and I'm gonna move around more. I've got some shoes that are being repaired right now, so I can get my adventuring shoes back. No, they're not Doc Martens. What are you talking about? They're not Doc Martens. No, they're Dayton's. They're Dayton shoes. They were the ones that I got paid with in lieu of cash during the pandemic. Hey Dayton, where's my thousands? There's other people who want that thousands that I can give them those thousands. So I'm going to get my adventuring shoes back and go out adventuring. And that'll help. That'll help with the weight thing. My metabolism is slowing down. Come on. Like I said, I'm 50 in a couple weeks. Speaking of which, oh God, I have a show on March 11th and I had forgotten about it. That is mea fucking culpa. That is on me. I was so concerned with having to do all the Just for Laughs Vancouver promo for the Just for Laughs Vancouver special presentation of the Critical Hit Show. It completely slipped my mind. So it's in 13 days from this broadcast. I'm meeting with Ian Boothby today to talk about it. So here's the plan. Actually, I should just do this. I do have a thing, right? Do I have a thing? Yes, I do. Okay. This is part of the, there. So we've got Little Mountain Gallery, March 11th. Come out. All of you come out. Tell people about it. I'm actually going to message a bunch of friends of mine and say, hey, you want to give me a 50th birthday present? Come to this goddamn show. We've rented the upstairs of Little Mountain Gallery. I wish that specific theater was a little more accessible for folks. So the top one is not, it's not as accessible as the lower one, but it is half the size and it is cheaper, which is why I grabbed it. Cause it's like, I can't fill a 90 seater. Just being, hey, it's me, Eric Fell. I can't do that. I would need gentlemen to heckle. I would need a show to be a critical hit. I would need all that, which look, I'd love to bring them back. You know about the hecklers. But I'm, so I've rented it out. So yeah, if there's any sort of mobility issues or anything like that, it may not be as accessible for you, folks out there. But please come, please come buy the tickets. That's what I want for my birthday is, a bunch of people, to do that and come. And then I've got 13 days to figure out what the hell the show is going to be. Yeah, that's what I got to do. I need to figure out what the show is. I got a couple ideas. I might do, if you saw me do my presentation, talk about the movie Time Bomb with Michael Biehn. I might do something like that about another movie or even just Time Bomb. Get Ian to do some stuff and maybe a special guest or two. And if I can get the tech working, maybe there might be a little riffing in there. Speaking of, I'm on Reddit. I'm looking around. I go to the MST3K subreddit, and there's this thing people are talking about, like, I don't know, there's some article that was like a joke. It was a joke, and the joke was like, local man realizes he'll never host Mystery Science Theater 3000. He's not actually funny. He was just drunk in the 90s. So that was the joke. I was like, okay, yeah, that's funny joke. And then there's this comment, and it was, there used to be people in my town that would do a show like it, and they were terrible. And then the next comment after that was, there used to be people in my town who would do a show like this, and they were great. So I just put in the one that's like, oh yeah, they were terrible. I'm like, please do not be about the gentleman hecklers. And so the one where they're like, oh yeah, they were great. Please be about the gentleman hecklers. And it was someone who was a fan of Gentleman Hecklers. I was like, are you, what? No, I put that in as a joke. I put that like, yeah, please be about the Gentleman Hecklers. And it, not only was it about the Gentleman Hecklers, but the response to that was, like Brock Sampson in his car. You seem to know whenever we're bringing up the Gentleman Hecklers here. And I'm like, oh my God. So someone responded with, a Venture Brothers reference. So I got to say, that's the audience I'm after. People who already like me and people who like the Venture Brothers. There are dozens of us. So yeah, I thought that was really funny, and honestly, it really brightened my mood because it's work. We know work's been slow and blah 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 blah. You've heard me say it a bunch of times. Coffee.com/ you know the deal. You like both of those things too. Ukes of Hazzard, was it you? Was it you? It's like the time at Stormcrow, someone went into a restroom and saw some graffiti, and the graffiti said, "Eric Fell is a god." So my name was written on scrawled on a bathroom wall. Eric Fell is a god. And it's like, it's got to be someone I know. No one fessed up to it. So it's just like, well, it's got to be, was it you? Was it you? Was it me? Yeah, I remember talking about Reddit last week, and I just scrolling through and just getting really annoyed with like a lot of the things I see show up. Usually questions about movies or TV shows that can easily be answered if you just look up from your phone when watching a show. It's like, really, you're asking this? Like, yeah. Why was Aragorn so sad when Boromir died? I don't know. Why do you think? And a lot of these, I just want to answer, why do you think? Also, you're not much of a bathroom graffiti artist. Well, have you tried? Have you gotten out the Sharpie? Gone to town on a wall with the Sharpie, drawing all sorts of phone numbers and stick figures, doing things that are going to be illegal south of us. Jesus. Oh, God. No, we're not going to talk about that because this is Morning Chit. We're here to be chill. And we're here to answer questions like,
Hoofprints or not, this horse witnessed the murder.
Wait a minute, that's not even a question. So the answer is this.
Can a plant really identify a murderer?
Look, it went backwards. I tried. I got to switch the buttons around on my stream deck. So, I don't know. It'll work sometime. Hey, what's up, me? What's up, me? What's up, me? I think I might need to recharge. Nope. Recharge comedy stick. I don't need to. I did a thing. I went to the library. Katie loves libraries. Just loves them. And we live, close enough to a library. So we go to I went to the library to do a little bit of work on my eventually launched Patreon thing. And I sat down, I wrote 1,800 words. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. And it was just brainstorming, right? And so I got a couple video ideas that I'm gonna do, and maybe put some on the Patreon, maybe put some out in the real world. And I went over to the DVD section because a couple of the great things about the library, besides the books, is CDs and DVDs. Now they have a very small Blu-ray section as well. Lots of DVDs, not a lot of Blu-rays, but go over there. They have the Criterion Collection edition of Masaki Kobayashi's Harakiri. This movie, oh my God, this is, when you watch it, and I highly recommend you watch it, it's a very powerful film. It's hard to watch at times, but while watching it, it suddenly dawns on you at about a third of the way in, you just go, oh yeah. I can see why this is considered one of the greatest films of all time. I think it is the highest rated narrative film on Letterboxd, like just number one. They named those backwards. DVDs should be CDs and CDs should be here-dees. Oh my God. Ukes of Hazzard. Get yourself a time machine. Go back to the 90s during the stand-up boom. Within 6 months, you'll have yourself a sitcom. Trust me. It was amazing. I did not rent Harakiri. I've seen it recently. I will watch it again. I'm considering just buying it. I think there's a Criterion sale coming up very, very soon. There's usually a Criterion flash sale at 50% off late February, early March. So sometime soon it'll happen. And that's when like the Blu-rays are like $28 instead of $56. But I did rent Real Life. I haven't watched it yet. The Albert Brooks film, Real Life, which is a 1970s movie, 79, I think. But it prefigures reality television. And it's about reality television, 15 years before reality television was a thing. And I think Albert Brooks is one of the great comedy geniuses of all time. Here's a recommendation for you. Albert Brooks, it's on YouTube, obviously. Anytime Albert Brooks is on The Tonight Show, he would spend a day just working on a bit. And he would come out and would just be insane. He does one. He's got a celebrity impersonation kit. And it's really good. And what's really funny is, so it's all these like bad impressions of people with these little props. But he puts a potato in his mouth, a hot potato in his mouth to do Burt Lancaster. And it's actually a pretty legit impression of him. Just he pops in his mouth, like, I was like, oh God, that's really good. That, and he had a ventriloquist bit. And the ventriloquist bit, I don't know why ventriloquism didn't just end there. Like, it's like any biopic, like Walk Hard. The movie Walk Hard did such a great job of hitting every point in the formulaic biopic that it's like, okay, now you got to rethink your shit, everybody. You've got to rethink your biopics, your musical biopics. And even after that, people didn't. Like, it's nuts. Like, I remember where I was watching, so I forget which one it was, but it came up many years after Walk Hard. I'm just like, Dewey Cox has got to think about his whole life. Like, it is just, oh my God, it was, like I said, I forget what the movie was. And what else was I talking about? I was talking about the musical biopic. Okay, so he does a ventriloquism act. You're just like, yeah, why are you still doing that? It's like, at the very least, the Bond people did a serious rethinking of Bond after Austin Powers, right? That's what they say anyway. Yeah. Like I think, when they did Casino Royale, I think they made a conscious choice. They're like, well, people are still talking about Austin Powers 10 years later. We may want to steer away from that. Also, honestly, I think they just saw how well the Bourne movies did. And they just went, let's do that. That's also how I feel about No Time to Die. I think Daniel Craig watched Logan and went, let's do that. But yeah, there you go. After Austin Powers and the Bourne movies right there. See this, I got to turn that latency way off. But I'm afraid it'll affect the sound. And I know we had those sound issues before. Let me know if those sound issues happen again. I did turn the noise gate back on, and I think that's what it was. It was a scandal or a noise gate. A gate meaning scandal, and then noise gate. Noise gate. That is a Mitchell and Webb joke. I'm not taking credit for that. Look up Watergate Gate. It's quite something. But I rented Real Life. And I rented another movie. It's not a Criterion film, but it's been on the Criterion channel. Super Cop. Meet the Cop That Can't Be Stopped. It's Police Story 3, starring Jackie Chan and Michelle Yeoh, and it is wild. It is a wild ride. I mean, I just got to tell you the cast. If you haven't seen the movie, I think you know what the movie's about. The movie's about crime and rad stunts. I'm surprised it's not in the Criterion Channel's current stunt section. Yeah. Sorry, I just saw what was coming up. The next slide. You ever turn on your on this day things, and then you suddenly get a notification? Hey, here's some on this day pictures. You ever do that? I got to stop doing it. I want to get some home. I want to make a home server and move all my stuff onto my own cloud. Cause hey, me, get off of Google's cloud. That was a terrible joke. That deserves, something. I don't even know what it deserves. That makes me feel better. Side note from Ukes of Hazzard, your last movie is coming to the Criterion Collection. You guess it's only one of 9 animated movies ever to get chosen. I think I know what it is. I think it starts with a K. Am I correct? Because I know that there was 2 like announcements. Like normally they announce on the 15th of the month. And, but yeah, the announcement was that in Variety that Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein is coming to the Criterion Collection. That surprises no one. I think del Toro has a deal that, yes, he'll make stuff for Netflix, but he is guaranteed a physical release. Rian Johnson, why didn't you make that deal? I wouldn't mind owning Glass Onion. Wouldn't mind owning Wake Up Dead Man. But the other one, of course, I think was a surprise. K-pop. Demon Hunters. No shit, you worked on that. That's great. Congratulations. I think it's going to take home the Academy. Not that I'm like a person who follows the Academy Awards, but my guess is it'll take it home. That's yeah, you should be proud. It's a monster of a hit. The music is still charting on it. Yeah, I have yet to see it. My Netflix, I got Netflix for a month and then promptly forgot about it. Just yesterday, I was like, hey, I hear the show Strip Law is really good. And then I watched, then I turned it on and it said, oh, you got to sign up again. I'm like, crap. But if it's Criterion Collection, I might be able to get my hands on it. So it's really great. Congratulations. Yeah, you're in a Criterion, you're in a Criterion Collection film. That's in my book. That's a bragging point. That's a put it on your CV. I don't have a lot on my CV. Jesus. Ugh. You did see Zootopia 2, and if it wins, you'll be upset. Zootopia 2. To me, Zootopia 2 is like it's proof that the internet doesn't matter. That nobody in my world even brought it up. And nobody in a lot of people's worlds even brought it up. And then people are like, what? It just smashed all these records? Zootopia 2? Yeah. Yep. Well, you also worked on No Country for Old Men, which is absolutely a Criterion Collection movie. They should be giving it to you for free. Frankly, I'm going to go to Box Office Mojo, .com, and I'm going to look up Zootopia 2. Zootopia 2, if you didn't know, folks. Sorry. It made $1.8 billion worldwide. It did $424 million domestic and $1.8 billion worldwide. So 1.4 billion of that is not Canada and the States. Just a worldwide monstrous hit. Let's see if it's got any records. All-time rankings. Let's take a look here. It is the 38th top grossing film of all time. Really? What was number one? Wow. Okay. So yeah, Zootopia 2. Oh, this is domestic because Zootopia did 424. I want to see worldwide. I don't want domestic, worldwide. Give me worldwide. Here we go. So it's number 9. And what's crazy is Zootopia 2 is number 9. Number 10 is Inside Out 2. What? And of course, I mean, number 1 we know. It's still Avatar, and then Endgame, and then Ava 2, and then Titanic. So lots of number 2s. There's Frozen 2s in here, Zootopia 2, Inside Out 2, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows 2, Incredibles 2. I think Spider-Man Far From Home is a 2. Moana 2. Rogue 1. Yeah, I saw 40 minutes of Ava 2. And the thing, one of the things with streaming, and this is one of the things I'm going to talk about in one of my videos, is if I'm not fully into a movie, I'll give up on it. Right? I'll just be like, okay, 40 minutes in. I've given you 40 minutes. I'm not feeling it. I'll turn it off. I don't do that in a theater. I don't do that in a movie theater. Right? I go to the movies. If I hate the movie, I'll still watch the damn movie. I've only walked out of 3 movies in my whole life. And even if I have a disc, if I put a disc in and I'm not caring for the movie, for some reason, and it's not that I'm lazy. Well, it's not just that I'm lazy. I won't get up and take it out of the machine. I will still sit through it. There's like a psychological aspect of it. Like, look, I went to the effort of putting this in a machine. I will watch it. But the convenience of the streamer is just, I just shut it off. And I did that with Avatar 2 because I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't quite feel it in the first one either, but I sat through the whole thing because I saw it in the theater. But yeah, that's another thing that I'm going to talk about is being intentional and deliberate with choices, and how this has wrecked us, absolutely wrecked us. Let me turn that off. There we go. Okay. Oh, good. It says I'm live. So that's another thing is, I gotta deal with this. I gotta declutter. I gotta do all this stuff. So I thought, I'm going to do some videos. So one of the things I wrote some stuff about, I don't want to get all philosophical in the video, but I might, but let's flip it and reverse it, folks. The on that day thing, this picture came, I don't know why this is. I don't know what this is. Clearly, I was doing some sort of gig or commercial or event. Yusuf Hazard, you're saying you don't think the Avatar movies translate well to home screens. They're spectacle movies. You couldn't give me a detailed description of any character if you tried. There's the blue guy, and there's the Terminator Salvation guy. I think Sigourney Weaver's one of them. And then we've got the We're Not in Kansas Anymore guy. Yeah. I don't know if they translates well to a 43-inch TV. But yeah, I don't know what this picture is. I genuinely don't know what this is from. I've been fitted with a wig, and I'm looking that here's what genuinely made me wistful is that phone was a Sony Xperia, which you can't get Sony Xperias in Canada. They just gave up on the market. Is Andrew Dice fell? God, I hope not. Simon King the stand-up Simon King, the Vancouver stand-up Simon King, he had this character. He did a character thing once, and because he did it, nobody's allowed to do it now because they'd just be taking the concept from him, and it pisses me off that he only did it once. And it was, I know some other comics. Well, that was wasted on him. He did a character called Andrew 20-sided Dice Clay, and he did satirically offensive, in big air quotes, D&D humor. I'm like, oh, well, you've done it. Nobody else can do it. All right. But what I do is I just move on because there's always a new joke. But I know a comedian who is like genuinely upset. I don't know what this was. But I missed the phone. The Sony Xperia. They still make the Sony Xperia. It's just not in North America. And I would love a phone that's not Google or Samsung or Apple. But what I want to mention about this is the latest Sony Xperia phone, I do believe, still has a headphone jack. So I'm taking a look here. I found a July 2025 review of the Sony Xperia 1.7. Not 17, but like number 1 and then Roman numeral 7. Apparently the camera's just wild on it. But I'm pretty sure it still has... here we go. So, yeah, it's 1,500 euros, which is just like, are you kidding me? I couldn't sell my car for that. But it has micro SD support. It's got external storage on it. Come on, other phones. Obviously it's got, a really, really good camera. It's got a really, really good battery. It's got a 3.5 mil headphone jack. It's got Dolby Atmos. I think that's funny. But it's got a headphone jack and it's got external storage. Like two things that we don't give a crap if your phone's thinner. We don't want a thinner phone. We want phones to do, right? We don't care. Also, phones. No phone has made us more productive. Not after a certain point in time. Now it's just, it's an ad machine. No, I'm not going to get into it. This is the chit. We're supposed to be doing happy things. But that's another one of the videos is, it's like, we're being, anyway. Doc Mars Tales to Amaze is here. You want to be able to use your phone as a weapon. I once saw someone throw a BlackBerry, the phone, and it embedded itself into a wall. And he pulled it out, and it would not a scratch. It he threw it, and it went thunk and stuck into the drywall, and pulled it out, and it was fine. The build quality on phones, used to be amazing. But yeah, this phone is that's Canadian engineering. I tell you that. Boy, did they listen. They had some missteps, and now it's gone. There we go. Some more. I have some lime water. See, the citrate helps break down the oxalates or the sodium. So if I put lemon or lime in some water, if I have calcium citrate. Yeah. So the citrate apparently helps move the sodium away from the kidneys because or the oxalates away from the kidneys, I think. The citrate does one thing and the calcium does the other thing. And so citrate, that'll help with the sodium. The calcium helps with the moving the oxalates out of the kidneys, or so they don't reach the kidneys. So that's why I drink my lime water. I'm in the market for a new phone. What I'm not in the market for is anything that costs any money. And I'm a little I'm really curious about this one thing called the Clicks Communicator. And I'm going to put it in the chat. And I'm going to get a picture of it out here for you. Because I hope it's light on the AI. Because I don't want that. Nobody wants more of that. We know that. We're not going to go into it. I'm trying to find a picture that's not an AVI, but it's all AVIF files. Basically, it's another phone, but it's all done up like a BlackBerry. It has a full QWERTY keyboard, and I was like looking at that, I'm like, I want something like that. And right now, there's a pre-order bonus where you save like $100 US, but so I'd be saving like $150. But the thing is, I'm sure that customs and stuff is going to be $150 anyway. So Katie is smart. Katie says, listen, Eric, we should wait maybe a couple generations before, so all this stuff can be ironed out. But like, I'm finding like my phone sometimes shuts off, and that ain't good. I hate having to use my phone for social media. I don't like social media, but I need it to promo so people can see my things. And if you see my things and like them, coffee.com. I'm just saying, /Eric Fell. You know the deal. So that's one of the ones I'm looking at. Am I sure I don't want to get the Pablo Escobar phone? It's gold plated. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm pretty good. I don't think I require that. Although gold is a pretty good conductor of electricity. No, I don't need that. So I just got to figure out what kind of phone to get. And I don't like trying to figure out what phone to get because I used to be an early adopter. I used to love being an early adopter of technology until technology became what it is now. And we're all subservient to it. And I'm just like, I want old stuff. Like I was looking at a OnePlus Nord from 2023. The one thing that kept me from it is like the camera is dog poop, and I need a good camera for my stuff. I have a good camera. I own a good camera. You want to see my good camera? I can show you my good camera. I got it with me. I use it to shoot Critical Hit. It's a Sony ZV-E10. It's not a top of the line camera, but and I put a metal cage on it. But it is like if I want to take pictures, maybe I should just take this with me. It is a weighty thing. It's because I have a metal cage, a third-party metal cage that I've put on it, and also that's for the tripod. It's a quick release thing. So maybe I should just take this around, take pictures with this. It's like I said, it's pretty nice. And then if I want to shoot stuff, I put this on it. I have other microphone options. They are available. Let me go there. Oh, goodness me. Escobar's nephew put it out. I don't, yeah, I'm good. I think steering as far away from possible as possible from that world, I think is the best idea for me. It's not for me. But yeah, so I do have a decent enough camera, but it's nice to take quick shots and put them up as promo. And I hate doing promo. The phone was only $200. Stop it, Doc Mars. Now you're saying it's $200. And I was like, oh, for crying out. But yeah, no, like I said, it's not a world I want to be. I think I give enough money to problematic places. I mean, we're on YouTube, right? So, but yeah, I'm going to try to figure out some sort of phone thing. I will probably wait until this thing completely dies, and then I will like rage buy a new phone. That's usually what happens is the phone completely goes and I just get mad and then I just go, fine, I'll take this one. Yeah, it's either YouTube or Twitch, right? Like for streaming, I get it. Like, yeah, look, we all have to, we do what we can where we can. And I don't judge or blame anyone for that sort of thing. Unless, of course, you participated in the Riyadh Comedy Festival, in which case, no. But yeah, no, we all get that the world that we're in, we've got Twitch, we got YouTube. Like, what else, right? Yeah, I could go to another one. There was one I was looking at, but then I was like, oh no, it's all like super right-wing weirdos. I'm not going to go on that one. But oh my gosh, here's a funny thing. There's one called PeerTube. And PeerTube, it's like a YouTube thing, I guess. It is is it decentralized? It's, it's kind of like, it's a decentralized thing. But I think you might have to host it yourself. Yeah, I think that's the open source one. But what was really funny about it is I was so amused while watching the video. Because they're like showing, and you can put comments, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. And one of the comments was by someone like from our Discord that I knew. I'm like, oh, it's this person. I thought that was incredibly funny. I was very amused by that. Small world. Speaking of small world, in my, I don't know what this was. I had a memory thing pop up, and it was like, hey, do you remember this album? And I don't know if you can read it. It says, Scotty Stevenson, I Can't Go Back to Winnipeg. And it's these four happy guys and what looks to be Catherine Deneuve from Umbrellas of Cherbourg holding a shotgun. So it's just called I Can't Go Back to Winnipeg. I don't know what the song's about. You know what? I don't want to know. Do not tell me what the song is about. Feel free to Google it, but I don't want to know. It might be awful because look at the era. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. So, yeah. So those are some pictures. I'm like, I don't know where they're from between that and the me on this day over the years. It's about people hunting. You're pretty sure the famous Winnipeg people hunt. Yes, that's what it is. The famous Winnipeg people hunt. Yeah, that's right. Because they do the they of course the Winnipeg, where they misunderstood. They misunderstood the name Most Dangerous Game. They didn't know that when they were like, humans are the most dangerous game. What they thought it was actually a game. And they were like, let's play the most dangerous game. That's not it. Because as we know, the most dangerous game is lawn darts. That's the most dangerous game. There is no argument to be had there. Old school lawn darts. That was it. That's the most dangerous game. Oh crap. I have a show. I mentioned this before. If you hadn't heard, I was very focused on the Just for Laughs Vancouver. It was a rousing success, a lot of fun. And then it was like, hey, you got a show March 11th. So it's also near my birthday. So if you're in town and you're like, what do I get Eric for his birthday? Because that's what everybody thinks. Everybody's like, hey, what? Eric Fell's birthday's coming up. What do we get Eric Fell? Eric Fell needs things. What do we get Eric Fell? Come to my show. It's going to be great. As soon as we give it a title, we can sell tickets, and it's going to be great. Yeah, come down to it. It's at Little Mountain Gallery on March 11th, 2026. So that's this year. It's a few days before my birthday. I know it's bad luck I think someone told me it's bad luck to celebrate your birthday before your actual birthday day, but I don't care. But yeah, come down to it. I will keep talking about this if you're on the Discord, which you should be. I will be posting it there. I'll be posting it on my Instagram and doing all that stuff. But Doc Mar's Tales to Amaze, you're saying those men are heroes who played lawn darts. I played lawn darts. I'm turning 50 in 3 weeks. So I am of the age where the banned lawn darts were still not only in people's yards, but you could still buy them. They were, if you weren't around for these lawn darts, they were, you'll look at them and you're like, what, why would you make those? So there's a great picture of them. Okay. So if you've never played or seen the lawn darts, I will show you what they are. It's a very simple game. Very simple. It's some darts about this big, and you throw them across the yard into a hula hoop on the lawn. That's it. Very simple. But if you can see this metal part here, that's basically lead. So you're throwing these lead projectiles with pointed ends, unsupervised, in people's yards. These could kill you. You throw that, like someone, like that, one of those gets you, goes up in the air, speeds up on the way down. Man, that's it. Game over, man. Game over. So that's what lawn darts was. And if you notice, there was two. So it's not like you just stand there. You get the two hoops, and sure, you put one further than the other. But the game that people would play is they would put one on the other side, and then they would throw them across at each other, because we were unsupervised and dumb. And so that's, yeah. If you weren't there for lawn darts, that's what lawn darts were. And I think they changed them to have like big, huge weights on it, so as to not be like, piercing projectiles. It was, it was a time of metal, rusted metal playground stuff and lawn darts and, having a house key because your parents aren't home when you get home. And, it was that. That was the world. Lawn darts. Oh, God. Not all of us made it out of the 1990s alive. That's why I love when like people like, oh yeah, there's so many kids with peanut allergies today. Where were the kids? When I was growing up in the 60s, we didn't have kids with peanut allergies. Like, yes, you did. They didn't make it because they had peanut allergies. Like, that's like saying bubonic plague. I don't think that was a thing. Where's the bubonic plague now? I'm just saying. Not all was made out of the 20th century. There were some bad decisions, some bad recreational decisions. And I think lawn darts is the perfect example. Doc Mars Tales from Maze, look up LJN water guns. I had an LJN water gun. And I was also of the era where toy weaponry was frighteningly realistic. There was a company called Laramie, and they made toy weaponry. Let me look up one of the ones that I had. I'm misspelling it, and I think I'm looking up the cap guns. And you're going to be like, why would you give this to a child? And I found some photographs. And these were 1-to-1 scale. So these weren't like little kids stuff. They were the correct size. Here we go. I'm gonna show you one that I actually had. There we go. This is a picture from Reddit. Saving this picture in our new folder here. Here it is. Why would you give this to a child? Like, it was so realistic. And I went to the store on my own, got on my bike, rode down to the store, and got this super, super realistic toy gun. And I had like a bunch of different models too. But the thing is, the caps were like these plastic strips, and you would hold them in the clip, the cartridge. So you could actually like take the cartridge out, load it, and put it back in. You're like, what are you doing giving these to kids? So the LJN had the water guns. I think Laramie had some pretty crazy ass water guns too, based on those molds. I think my favorite one though that I got from them was like a 1930s Mauser machine pistol replica. And I say replica because they were so realistic. And I took it and I modified it and I turned it into a Star Wars blaster. Like I found a new thing to put on the barrel. I added a scope and stuff, and that was wild. But like, yeah, that's why would you give this to kids? Why did, and for decades, that was a thing. You'd give kids toy guns. That was just the thing. Hey, it's time to go toy guns. And yeah, I don't know. It was a ridiculous time. Once again, an unsupervised time. And, Ukes of Hazzard. The decades and decades prior, absolutely. Then there's the guns that fired projectiles, like the BB guns. Why would you give these to kids? It boggles the mind. Like you look back now and you're like, what were they? How foolish were they? And although Doc Mar's Tales to Amaze, you're saying the murderous Boba Fett toy. Now that is actually inaccurate. What happened was there were some toys that fired tiny projectiles. And there was a kid who unfortunately and tragically died when Battlestar Galactica toy was the projectile. He choked on the projectile and died. And at that point, the rocket firing Boba Fett action figure was like in basically pre-production at Kenner. And I think 24 prototypes survived. There's the L slot firing ones and the J slot firing ones. And what they did was when the Boba Fett figure was released, instead of having the rocket fire backpack feature, they sonic welded the rocket into it. And that's why Boba Fett looks like he does. And that's why the rocket firing prototypes go for so much. And you can buy some pretty affordable replicas. I actually have a replica. I also have a 2010. They actually released him in 2010, like a vintage looking figure in 2010. One of my special interests is 1970 Star Wars. In fact, I'm going to grab you a Boba Fett. I can't. There we go. So you can see that, and there was a little switch on the back, and you could fire it. But that never came out. That would never reach production. It was that. I have a replica one, but it's behind glass, and I have to move a bunch of crap. I actually would have to move that giant Ralph McQuarrie book that I can't move that right now, and open up a glass case to show you the replica of the rocket firing Boba Fett I have right next to the Jawa with the replica vinyl cape. Because the vinyl cape Jawa, so when they first made the first 12 Star Wars figures, the Jawa, it's going to be a smaller guy, right? And he had a vinyl cape, because you remember all the figures had vinyl capes. Like Vader had a vinyl cape, Obi-Wan had a vinyl cape, Leia had a vinyl cape. But then they went, we're charging the same amount for this little guy here as we are for the full-size figures. So the second, so they went, okay, let's stop making the vinyl cape Jawas and let's give them some soft goods, like a little cloth cape. So like a robe. So 99.9% of the Jawas came out with those. But the vinyl cape Jawas, very rare, very hard to find, very easy to fake, because you just take a Jawa and you make a vinyl cape for it. You can buy actually, I'll show you. Where is he? I bought some cheap vinyl capes and put them on the Jawas. There's ways to tell that they're real. They have a different texture on them and stuff like that. But here, I'll show you them.
There you go. There's a vinyl Cape Jawa. This is not an authentic vinyl Cape Jawa. I cannot afford an authentic vinyl Cape Jawa. I have a carded cloth caped one, though. I don't have a lot of carded original figures. One of them is a Jawa. It's on the Empire Strikes Back card. The card is just beat up, and I think it's resealed. Like, I got it for like $15. But I have one carded original Star Wars figure, and on it is the mail away offer for the rocket firing Boba Fett, which is one of the reasons why I kept it when I sold off my collection in the 90s. And I regret selling off my collection of carded figures in the 90s, because if I sold it off now, and I was making like $2,000 a month in 96, 97. It was great. It was a great time. Like, oh my God, $2,000 a month just selling my Star Wars toys. If I had held on to them and I sold them now, I'd be making $2,000 a week, $3,000 a week selling them. Like, it was nuts. What if I just buy the cape separately from an authentic one and then put an authentic toy at the time? Yeah. Like if I bought, like you can buy a replica cape, right? And just put it on. Like this is a 1970s Kenner Jawa with a whatever year, probably 2014 to 2022 fake vinyl cape. But I would never sell anything that is or has any sort of reproduction accessories without telling people. So what I do is so I got a load of figures on display. If the figure has original accessories, it has a black stand. If the figure has or is any type of replica or reissue, like the Star Wars Retro Collection, which is a modern day reissuing of the original figures. This is the Star Wars Retro Collection. So this is an actual Kenner figure, but it came out in like 2019. My real ones are behind glass. So that's why it's got that. But I'm sure I've got, let me look for one with a dark stand. Of course, they're not in here. They're in, I got a Lando over here. So my Lando Calrissian. There we go. So my Lando is on a larger black stand because it has an original gun and an original cape. So that's how I do it. Doc Marsh Tales to Amaze. Your uncle was a huge comic book collector, and this is even like from the 60s. And then your grandma threw out all his comics when he went to college. Oh, you think about that all the time. Oh, I've got some stories. So I had a bunch of comic long boxes. And when my folks sold their place in 2015, I had to get rid of them. I basically just gave them to friends because we didn't have time. They're like, oh, by the way, Eric, we're selling the house and we have like a week to get rid of everything. I'm like, I don't have time to sell these hundreds of comics. Because what happened is I had my own comics. And then in the 80s, I had my, like my uncle's comics, my aunt's comics or something like that from the 60s. So I had a long box of those, and then I had my own. And then in the early 2000s, Ian Boothby was getting rid of a bunch of his comic books. And he said, do you want to come over and grab like some of my old comic books? And I said, yes. And so I'm sitting there talking with Ian while a friend of his was like putting the comics in my car. I had a Ford Explorer at the time, and they put 13 long boxes in my car. And I had so many long boxes that I used them as a room divider. It was insane. And then I got rid of all of them like a fool in 2015. And once again, if I'd had like enough time to get a storage unit, I'd have been able to put them in there and then sell them some at a time. I'd probably be living off of that right now. I'd just probably be like, oh, I sell comics. But then there was the tale of my neighbor. So I had a rich neighbor, like we all had, just normal houses, but their house had a pool and a tennis court. Like what? Yeah. So they had this huge house,
and all this stuff. And I remember the kids they would just buy all the toys for the kids, and the kids would never play with them. The kids had no interest in them. Their kids' closets were like the size of, like their toy closets were like the size of my bedroom. And yeah, I don't even think they played tennis. They were just rich and wanted to show off. They had a lawn jockey. That's weird. Even back then, I'm like, what? I'm not comfortable with this. But when I got older, in about 91, so I'm 15, and I'm the only person I know who gives a crap about Star Wars now, right? Because there's no Star Wars movies. Heir to the Empire, like they hadn't relaunched the novels. There's a couple video games that I was enjoying, and there was the role-playing game, and that was it. But I'm like, man, I still love Star Wars. I still, and I go by, and I'm walking by the place, and I see the friend. We're not friends anymore. Like we were friends when we were 6, right? So I see him, and they're talking, and there's a dumpster in the driveway. And they're like, Eric, come here. Do you still like Star Wars stuff? Yeah. Well, we're getting rid of all the old stuff. Did you just like want my Star Wars stuff? I'm like, yeah, that would be amazing. And so he's got like this pile of Star Wars stuff, and it's in like mint condition. I'm talking like play sets and vehicles and 12-inch figures and stuff. And this guy's mom hated me, just hated me. I'm not for everyone. And she comes storming out. She's like, Eric Fell, what the hell are you doing here? You get off the driveway. You're not taking our garbage. You're not dumpster diving. And I was holding in my hand a Boba Fett figure, a 12-inch Boba Fett figure. She snatched it out of my hand and smashed it on the ground. And like the kid was just like, oh my mom, what are you doing? I'm just like in shock. And I'm seeing all this stuff there. She's like, no, you're not dumpster diving. Get out. And I was like shooed off of this rich person's property. And I watched them throw away what is now tens of thousands of dollars of collectibles. And I wanted them because, like I said, I loved Star Wars collectibles. I loved Star Wars toys. And this is back when I could like get a carded Star Wars figure from a comic shop for like $6. And I'm just like horrified. It's a horror movie. And he's just like, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. I'm just like, oh my God. And I like walked, I couldn't say anything. I'm 15 years old. This lady just like tore my head off. And I walked away and I'm like, oh man. 3 years later, the dad was done for fraud. Just going to throw that out there. So, but, yeah, it was awful. That was just such a moment of, and I went home and I looked at all my Star Wars toys and I'm like, I saw the worst thing today, guys. This will never happen to you. I promise. And I kept that promise. It was not a Ponzi scheme. It was to do with the actual business, like selling fraudulent product. So, oops. Yeah. So it was, oof. Sorry. You pulled a core memory out there. Doc Mars, Tales to Amaze. It was a wild time. It was a wild time. But I've kept my, so many of my toys since then. I'm like, I don't want to throw that away. And if I have no interest in something and somebody wants it and I'm going to throw it away, I'm not going to create more landfill space. I'm going to say, oh, you really like this? Why don't you have it? Right? Like, if I can't sell it, I used to give away, I used to have a lot of Star Trek The Next Generation figures, the old Playmates ones. And I had them carded and they weren't going for a ton of money. So I would give them away as pub quiz prizes. I actually gave away a bunch of comics as pub quiz prizes too. But yeah, I would give those away because it didn't cost me, because I would buy them for $6 each. And then it's like, you look on eBay and they're like, oh, they're
they're $8. They're selling for $8 each. It's not worth the shipping. So I'll just give them away as pub quiz prizes and get rid of some clutter. I might still have a couple kicking around in storage. Yeah, there you go. One day, Doc Mars Tales to Amaze. You have to look through your Pokemon card collection. You have a pretty extensive one. I highly recommend doing that. Highly, highly, highly. I think I told the story about my Magic the Gathering cards, where I bought a bunch from a store that was gaming. The store was basically going out of business, and I picked up a bunch of booster cards for $0.25 each. And some of these like collector's decks and stuff like that for like $5. I spent about $40, and I got like basically a banker's box full of stuff. And I didn't really play Magic. I played it a few times. The person I was dating at the time was a huge Magic the Gathering fan. I'm like, hey, let's build this really super cool deck together. Look what I did. I spent $40, got all this. Let's build like some really cool decks. I think we could do some fun thing to do together. And then she went, Eric, that's, Magic the Gathering is kind of like my thing. You've taken the fun out of it. I'm like, okay. So I put them in a box and forgot about it. And then it's been in a box for, decades, 15 years. And then Katie was like, we got to move some clutter. I'm like, I got a bunch of Magic the Gathering cards. And Katie went, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go through them. I'm going to go through all of them. And she went through them. And she scanned them and stuff. We wound up selling them to a store for like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It was amazing. And I'm like, well, Katie, you did all the work. Obviously I kept some of the money, but yeah, it was like hundreds of dollars. Like, yeah, no, definitely check your stuff if it's in good condition. You never know. Oh no, the market unfortunately collapsed this year, which sucks because it was very high for the past couple of years. Well, it's ebbs and flows, right? It'll go up and down. But yeah, so if you ever if you're a Magic the Gathering fan and you ever go to the Magic Stronghold in Burnaby, BC, and you see behind glass some I guess it'll be Magic the Gathering 2010 cards. Just know that they once lived in a box in storage at my place. I always wonder about that. Like when I went into, I got rid of it when my folks moved their place. I sold most of my laser discs, and I sold them to Black Dog Video, and they gave me a decent price for them. Laser discs don't actually go for a lot of money, so I sold them my laser discs, and they had my laser disc of Citizen Kane up on their wall framed for years. And then when they went out of business, they're like, we're selling everything, even the wall fixtures. I'm like, oh my God, I can get it back. I can get Citizen Kane back. I can get my copy of Citizen Kane back. And I go there and someone had already bought it. I could see it. It was already spoken for. It made me sad, but I sold it when I needed to. So it did it. And in the past I've owned it on VHS and DVD and regular Blu-ray. And now I have it on regular Blu-ray, and of course, the 4K. Citizen Kane's a movie that I've seen in as many formats as possible. So I've obviously seen it broadcast on television, a digital rental, digital purchase back in the day, streaming, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, 35 millimeter print, DCP, airplane. So I've seen it in many different formats. I think it's the movie that I've seen in the most formats, although maybe Star Wars. I've seen it in a lot of formats too, but I've never watched Star Wars on a plane. Yeah, you once opened a pack of baseball cards from the 60s and found a card that you would have won tickets to the World Series in 1962. Oh my gosh. And since you're from now, you could have laid a bet and Biff Tannen'd that thing. Yeah, Magic the Gathering is doing crossover cards now with different franchises. What if they did Citizen Kane Magic the Gathering? I play Rosebud. It instantly ends the game. Or does it instantly start the game? I don't know. But that would be really, really funny. Yeah, you could do like You could do a Charles Foster Kane aggro. No, Charles Foster Kane control deck, right? He'd be a control deck. And I would say Susan Alexander. She wouldn't be it. No, Boss Getty's aggro. Anyway, yeah, I don't remember much about Magic the Gathering. Now you want Criterion to make a card game. That would be funny. The Criterion card game, the Criterion collectible card game, the CCCG, because the CCCG, the Criterion Collection collectible card game. Yeah. Should do it. You can buy from the Criterion website, you can buy books of postcards, and the postcards are the covers of a lot of their films. And I wish I had those, but it always costs so much to ship to Canada. Which card jackhammers the floor so you can get the super low angle shot? It would be called the Well of Wells. And that's because a well is a...
Can a plant really identify a murderer?
Only Frakes knows. Only Frakes knows. Yeah, so that's Citizen Kane, the card game. I think that would be really funny. A full Criterion Collection card game would be interesting too, but I think specifically a Citizen Kane card game is just a weird thing. It reminds me of the end of Waiting for Guffman when Christopher Guest's character had like My Dinner with Andre action figures. And I think he had like a Remains of the Day lunchbox, which is kind of funny now because they merchandise everything nowadays, right? So there would be a Remains of the Day lunchbox now. Like whoever the video distributor, like say if A24 was distributing Remains of the Day, they come out with some Remains of the Day lunchbox. Also, I found something out about A24. I think it's like there's bad money in there. When they're like, yeah, it's super independent. I don't know if it is. It is, yeah. Some of the money that went into it, you're like, oh no. Yeah, whereas I'm going to try to find it under their expansion. Because like, A24 is very much like, oh, we're as independent as independent can be. But there was some stuff in there and I was like, oh, that's not small independent stuff. I'll see if I can find it. I mean, they struck a deal with the United Talent Agency, which is like one of the biggest talent agencies on the planet, to produce scripted and unscripted television under the Civic Center Media banner. So they are big. But there was one and I was like, oh, this can't be good. Yeah. I'll see if I can find it, because I don't want to talk out my butt here, but there were some rough customers involved with it, like some, yeah. Oh, well, I will find it. Yeah. Sorry. I just figured I would have been able to find it. It was, is it Thrive Capital? I think, did it? Yeah. So, Thrive Capital. There we go. So Joshua Kushner is on the board of directors of A24. Joshua Kushner is, of course, the younger brother of Jared Kushner, son-in-law of you know who. So yeah, we're not looking at great people in there. But yeah, we should only be into Orion or something, like Long Dead Movie Studios. They can't break your heart. Yeah. I think Orion's back too. I think someone bought the name and is has resurrected it. So it might be a little zombified. Same with what's it called? Totally brain farting. I've got a Vestron video. That's what I'm thinking of. Yes. Okay. So, it became defunct in 1999, and it folded into MGM, and then of course MGM is owned by Amazon, and Orion Releasing is, I think, like back as part of MGM Amazon. We can't have nice things. Nice things are alien to us. They get taken away. Let's see if I can find it, because I think they're bringing back. So yeah, the Orion, almost all of Orion's post-1982 releases, as well as most of the AIP and Filmways backlogs, and all of the television output originally produced and distributed by Orion Television now bear the MGM name. However, in most cases, the 1980s Orion logo has been retained or added in the case of the Filmways and AIP libraries. Most ancillary rights to Orion's back catalog from 78 to 82 remain with Warner. So Warner's has 78 to 82, and then 82 on, I think, is Amazon. But I want to say that they're trying to bring it back. Here we go. In 2021, that's when Amazon entered negotiations to acquire MGM and made a bid for about $9 billion. Blah 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 blah. We know what happened there. So in March 2023, Amazon shut down stuff and folded a bunch of little things into MGM. So Orion is distributed by Amazon and Warner's. So that's what happened. So it is not back, I don't think, but yeah. Let's get into RKO. Okay. So RKO, God, was that eaten by Warner's? I think that was, but like ages ago, like, RKO Pictures is a subsidiary of blah blah blah. Who owns it now? Its parent companies. It probably says it's defunct. It was defunct in 1958, but I want to say that Warner's ate it up. I don't want to read the whole article, but yeah. That we get the cool thing, and then the big companies buy the cool thing, and they poop it. They shitify it. We know this. We've learned this. We're still learning it. My microphone company, Shure, where I buy this microphone from, I don't know. I think they're still independent. It's like when you found out that, what's his pickles on the board of Bethesda? Yeah, Bethesda. Everyone's favorite modern game show. Who owns it now? It really does feel like that when you're looking stuff up. You're like, I'm sorry, that's owned by what? Who's got that? It's like companies who own companies who own companies who own companies who own companies. We say on YouTube, which is owned by Google, which is owned by Alphabet. Like I said earlier in the chit this morning, we do what we can where we can, and I will not judge people by the things that they do, because there are certain things that you can't escape. For example, there are some certain work things that I do with the team building company that I freelance that hires me, that have to be done in the Microsoft environment, because I have to be in their environment when they're doing it. So I got to use Teams for that, and I got to use PowerPoint for that, and I got to use Outlook for that. And then there's some other things that I have to do that are promo and stuff related, where the Adobe ecosystem is required. look, GIMP is just such a hell of a learning curve, and I don't know if I could do it. And so there's a couple other things there. So I have to stick with Adobe and with Microsoft for those things. Now, for when I'm not doing those things, I don't use those things. But like, what the hell? That's one of the reasons why I haven't gone fully Linux. Why I haven't taken this computer and switched it fully over to Linux. But yeah, it's wild. EA might technically own the flag for Antarctica. What? Okay, this is news to me. EA owning, wow. The Antarctica flag, the flag of Antarctica. It doesn't have a flag of its own. Graham Bartram's proposal, 1996. 2024 redesign. My goodness. EA. Here we go. Yeah. EA might technically own the flag. Yeah, I'm trying to find something on that. I believe you, because the world is just, I mean, we live here. We know what's going on. It's blue and white, the shape of the continents of Antarctica. Yeah. So why is it that EA technically owns it? I'm curious about that. Was it used in a video game before it was formally adopted? Or if we ever get overpriced Antarctica DLC with a season pass option, we'll know why. Great. It's not just microplastics that are ruining Antarctica. It's microtransactions. And applause. And a horse.
Hoofprints on off. This horse witnessed the murder.
There we go. We just needed the horse. We need to see the horse again because, you know, the other Eric Fell is he's into horse people dating. So it was created for Video Encyclopedia from some random video company years ago because there wasn't a flag, so they just wanted one. Oh my gosh! Now let me guess. They were either eaten by EA or they were eaten by someone who ate, like, so they got eaten and then they got eaten. Is it like there's always a bigger fish sort of thing? Or, yeah. Yeah, because of mergers and acquisitions, that company's now owned by EA. I have a pitch for a show that involves that, where it's like, because of mergers and acquisitions and fire sales and stuff like that, there is a very mundane company that owns this very, very interesting science fiction-y thing. And yeah, I'd like to see that pitch happen because I think it's a good idea and I think it's a good time to do it about now. But yeah, I do like that idea. It's like, I'm sorry, what do we own? We own what? Yeah, technically, because we bought this company, who bought this company, who bought this company, who was a supplier for the government, who did this, and yeah, that's why. Let's say I'll make something up because obviously I don't want to, spoil it. I'll be like, well, that's why the refrigerator company owns a spaceship. What? Yeah. But we make washing machines and refrigerators. Yeah. And spaceship. Go faster than light. Yeah. I think it's a good idea. I won't tell you what it is, but I like it. And don't guess because I will not answer. But yeah. So yeah, that I do like that. I like that weird idea of that of people suddenly, because there's the Coca-Cola company owned Columbia Pictures for a while, which is, when you think of it, really, Coke. They owned, if you watch the original Ghostbusters, it'll say Columbia Pictures, a Coca-Cola company on it. Before it wound up under Sony's banner, right? Sometimes companies would own stuff. Here's one. The Bronfman family, basically Seagrams, owned Universal Pictures for a while. The people who make Seagrams ran it. And then Vivendi owned Universal, and Vivendi is like a French water utility. I think that's what Vivint. Yeah, so they owned like Universal, which odd. Yeah, when it's just all these, because they don't care. There's now companies that just buy company. Like, what's your job? My job for my company is to buy other companies and make my stock prices go up. Oh, that's useless. That's exciting. And I'm a comedian. I have a job that many people feel is useless. I have a job that I feel 6 days a week, I'm feeling pretty damn useless. But at least I make people laugh. At least I bring joy. Oh, God. Anyway, March 11th, 2026, Little Mountain Gallery. Yeah. Oof. There was the company that owned Dixie Cups, owned a major music studio for a while. And the owner used it to make his wife a recording star and would give away her CDs free in Dixie Cups. That's amazing. That's some Charles Foster Kane stuff right there. Because if you remember in Citizen Kane, one of the best moments is Susan Alexander Kane, right? She's a singer. She's not a strong singer, but Kane wants her to be a singer. So there's a bit where it's like, oh, she doesn't do well as a singer. I'll build her an opera house. The next shot is Kane builds opera house. So he builds her an opera house and makes her do these operas that she's not strong at. Yeah, it's a great visual gag. Well, if it doesn't work out, I'll build her an opera house. Kane builds opera house. It's a beautiful cutaway. But that's wild. Speaking of wild, if you've got the Criterion channel, please listen to the commentary of all movies, Maniac Cop 3. Just trust me. Maniac Cop 3, not a strong film. Not nearly as good as the first two. The first Maniac Cop really, really surprised me. I was like, oh, this isn't going to be good. I'm like, actually, this is pretty good. And then the second one, I'm like, oh my God, there's some really harrowing, genuinely great car chases in this. And the third one, I put on the commentary. And the commentary is by two people. One, William Lustig, the director of Maniac Cop 1 and 2, and part of 3. And I forget his name, but the director who replaced him on Maniac Cop 3. Yeah. So it's them. And it starts out with William Lustig going, be as vicious as you like. I can take it. I understand. And it is the biggest give no fucks commentary I have ever heard. Like they're talking about the writer and they're like, the thing about him is his girlfriend always needs money. So he's always writing a part for his girlfriend to be in the movie so that she can get paid and he doesn't have to give her money. I'm like, oh my God, why are you saying this? It's because, they're dead. The writer's no longer with us, so they're fine doing that. So they're doing that. And it is kind of a wild ride listening to this. And there's this part like off the top because the guy who replaced him is like, you're the nicest man I've ever fought with. You're the best director I've ever fought with. And we know you were going through some stuff when making this movie. And it's one of the reasons why he quit. On day one of shooting, he had been doing pre-production for a year on the movie True Romance. Okay? You know the movie, Tarantino script, starring Christian Slater. True Romance, a big sort of cult hit of the 90s. And he finds out on day one of shooting that he's being removed and replaced by Tony Scott. So he's shooting Maniac Cop 3. He's all ready to go. He's like, look, I'm going to do this because my next one is going to be great, right? Like this next one is going to be the movie that sort of pulls him out of the slasher film genre and gets him some of that 90s indie cred that they were all after, that the directors were all after in the 90s. It's a Tarantino script. It's a couple years after Pulp Fiction. It's the hottest script in town. He's directing it. Day one of shooting Maniac Cop 3, you're out. Tony Scott's in. Tony Scott doesn't need the press. Tony Scott doesn't need the fame. Tony Scott made frickin' Top Gun. Tony Scott is an award-winning commercial director. He's already a big hit director. He's already famous. He doesn't need it. It's not going to raise his profile. A year of this guy's life and like basically writing your own ticket to like, okay, now I can do what I want. Gone. Just what a pisser. And so he is totally depressed shooting this thing. And he's like, why the hell am I here? And eventually he just walks and then the other person takes over. And even the guy who replaces him, who I think eventually took his name off the movie too, is like, you can tell it's one of my scenes because it's filled with boring dialogue padding. Oh my God. They're just like, they're both shitting on their own movie for the reasons that upset them, but also going, look at this scene here. Look at how it's shot. This is actually really nice. And then all these like anecdotes about, the star who they didn't want for the lead role, but they had to, otherwise the financing would fall through. Robert Davi. Like, it's such an interesting commentary. I would put that up in like one of the wildest commentaries. I would put that up, not quite at the limey level of commentary, which once again, if you've got the Criterion Channel, I think the commentary for the limey is up there too. And that one is nuts. That one is not two people who don't give a crap and they're just like, we're going to just say whatever we want. It's two people who care so passionately about the movie, but the screenwriter hates what the director did and fully goes, what the hell did you do to my script? And then because the movie, The Limey, so basically The Limey was shot, it's a like beginning, middle, end. And Steven Soderbergh sort of reassembled it and when he made the movie, he made a non-linear film. And I think it's an amazing film. It's my favorite Steven Soderbergh film. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And it comes in at a brisk 88 minutes. But it was originally written as a linear film. And one of the things Soderbergh did is he pulled out loads of stuff. So it's got this weird dreamlike quality to it. And the writer is like, what the hell did you do to my script? You pulled out all the character stuff. You pulled everything out. Why would you do this? And he's genuinely mad. And he calls Soderbergh out on it. Yeah. So the limey commentary is great. The Maniac Cop 3 one, I haven't fully completed. We watched the first like 3/4 and we got to watch the rest of it today. Just wild. And if you can find it, what's another really good commentary? Oh, the Spinal Tap Blu-ray. Not necessarily the Criterion one. It's on the Criterion, but on the regular Blu-ray for Spinal Tap, there's a commentary by Spinal Tap in character. So it's Harry Shearer, Michael McKean, and Christopher Guest as their characters. And they're like, look at this movie. It's a travesty. This is a serious documentary about us. I saw a screening of this once. People laughed at us. It was great. So are you saying which Doc Mars Tales to Amaze, which commentary is on the YouTube? Is it a Maniac Cop 3 or is it the Limey? And also, isn't there a commentary on the Limey with like the original movie? I don't know. But Maniac Cop 3 is on YouTube. Okay. All right. I still recommend getting the Criterion Channel just because the Criterion Channel is so damn great. We watch so many damn rad movies. A lot of course, like fun older stuff. This one's leaving in a couple days. I had a good time with A Ball of Fire. That's fun. It's Barbara Stanwyck and Gary Cooper, who is really interesting because I know he's in a lot of like classic comedies. I don't think he's the best cast in comedies, which is weird because, like, it's directed by Howard Hawks. It's written by Billy Wilder. So, like, they know better than I do, but he's basically in the Cary Grant role in this. But yeah, that was a good one I found on Criterion Channel. It's got some great, amazing dialogue. Barbara Stanwyck owns it. I mean, owns this movie, and everything just revolves around her and her brilliance as a performer. There's also a musical number that she probably lip syncs, but Gene Krupa is on drums. And if you've never seen Gene Krupa on drums, he is one of the all-time great drummers, and he does his thing and you're like, holy shit. And then he does another number, and he does it with matchsticks. He does a song called Drum Boogie with matchsticks, and you see him going and it's like the matchstick, the wooden matchstick sounds on the matchbox, and you're like, holy crap, this is like one of the great drum performances. I was stunned. I loved it. Yeah, Gary Cooper duper. You can't have Putting on the Ritz without Young Frankenstein, which, by the way, try to stream it. Try to stream it on a paid streaming service. Just try it. Ain't going to happen. Anyway, yeah, Gary Cooper, super duper. Sorry, the story you heard was the limey was part of a controversy. Is he used footage from another movie and claimed it was a sequel theoretically, and the original director was also irritated. Okay, so with the limey, there is some footage from another movie in it. There's a couple of shots because they want some flashbacks for Terrence Stamp's character, but he's not the same character that he was in that movie. They have different names, and they also integrated some shots of like him, because it's about his daughter, of him and like a kid. He does not have a kid in that movie. So I don't know too much about that controversial side of things, but I don't think it was implied that it was a sequel. I think that's like people's headcanons. I'll try to find some information on that because, like I said, I love the hell of that movie. But I don't think he claimed it was a sequel to that other film. Because if he claimed it as a sequel to that other film, they would have needed the rights to that other film, not just rights to the footage. And that means the other director might have gotten paid out and stuff like that if it was a... yeah. But, yeah. So the flashbacks are from Ken Loach's Poor Cow. And if we look up Poor Cow, it's a 1967 film starring Terrence Stamp. But his character's name in Poor Cow is Dave Fuller. And his character's name in The Limey is Wilson. If there was something going on, it might have been maybe misinterpreted by Ken Loach, because I don't see Soderbergh making claims and shit like that. Like, I really don't see that. He doesn't seem to me to be that guy. I'm just gonna see if there's anything in here. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. To be honest, I'm just looking at the Wikipedia pages for both of these, but very frequently a lot of this stuff does show up. Soderbergh uses the scenes to create a hazy backstory to show Stamp's character as a young man, his criminal past, his relationship with Jenny's mother, and Jenny's disapproving attitude towards his crooked lifestyle. I knew about the footage, forgot the name of it, but like, I don't. There you go. You're just repeating stuff you heard on TV Tropes like a decade ago. Watch out for TV Tropes. Watch out for that website. It's, I'd watch out for it. But like Ken Loach might have been upset by the use of the footage. I don't know. I don't know a ton about Soderbergh. He's one of my favorite directors. I've seen a ton of his. I've actually seen, he's my third most watched director of all time, I think. after watching. I watched a Soderbergh film just last night. I watched Presence, which is an interesting mechanical exercise in filmmaking that did not grab me as a narrative. Presence is, I'm not going to spoil anything about it except to tell you it's, because I love a haunted house movie, right? I love a ghost story. When they're done well, they are masterpieces. The Haunting, Legend of Hell House, The Changeling is probably my favorite one. And if you've never seen Ghost Watch, see Ghost Watch. Don't look up anything about it. Just watch it. Oh, and watch it with somebody and let them know that it was a real TV broadcast in 1992. Wink. Just trust me on that one. Just trust me. But this one, so it's another one. And I'm like, ooh, Soderbergh's doing a ghost story. Soderbergh's doing a haunted house movie. The movie is a first-person perspective film from the point of view of the ghost. So it's really interestingly filmed. It's really cool. It was a bummer of a film. I was excited about it. He made 2 films that last year. He made that. And he made Black Bag. I enjoyed Black Bag. I thought Black Bag was fun. That was fun Soderbergh. This was experimental Soderbergh, which, like I said, I love that he did it. I love how he did it, but I didn't love the script didn't grab me, which is a shame because it was written by David Koepp, who also wrote Black Bag, who also wrote the screenplay for Jurassic Park. He wrote one of the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. Like David Koepp, I think he did an early draft of Crystal Skull when it was called something else, but like he's a good writer. But for me, it didn't come through. I know a lot of people liked it. But I just kind of went, that was what I did, for Presence, which, like I said, I think I watched it a couple nights ago. But to cheer us up after Presence, because it was such a bummer, we watched His Girl Friday, again, right? For the probably 3rd or 4th time in the last 5 years. Now there we go. There's another Howard Hawks film. Howard Hawks, when his stuff is good, it's excellent. When his stuff is good, it is the best of that genre, or among the best of that genre. But for those of you who don't know, here are some Howard Hawks films. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, His Girl Friday, Bring It Up Baby, The Big Sleep, Rio Bravo, Scarface, the original, To Have and Have Not, Red River, Only Angels Have Wings, Ball of Fire. These are some great ones. He also did a movie called 20th Century, which it was, didn't do it for me. But they don't all have to do it for me, because they're not all for me, because I am an adult. You have a download of the film matte version of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. Oh, you mean like the open matte version? Open matte is an interesting thing, because obviously it is not the director's intention or original composition, right? So you're not really watching what they wanted you to watch, but it is interesting to see. I've seen some open matte bits from Jurassic Park, and that's kind of fun because you see the mic coming in, and I really like that. I enjoy that. And sometimes there have been some issues in movie theaters. There used to be when the film, because they didn't mat, because sometimes you get the film print, but then you'd mat it in the projector, right? So you'd have your open matte film strip, and then you'd mat it for the size of your screen. And they forgot to mat it. I think it was a movie called 7 Days in May. It was like I forget. It was like a Ron Howard film about the Cuban Missile Crisis, and the boom mic was just visible the whole movie. And I didn't clue in about the whole open mat thing. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And it was the theater's fault, not the director's fault. It was a movie that I went to see because this is what you would do back in the day. I went to see this movie because I was told it had a teaser for the upcoming Lord of the Rings films. And I'm like, well, you know, I go see movies all the time, but I remember like, I go see that. And I saw that teaser. I saw that very first teaser. I'm like, oh yeah. And it was like the reveal. It was the first reveal of the entire Fellowship. I think I don't think there was a lot of like pictures and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is great. And then I watched this movie, which was, you know, the movie was okay. But yeah, there's like just this mic following everybody. So you just see it following. I think Bruce Greenwood plays JFK. I forget the whole cast of the movie. Honestly, I think it was called 13 Days. 13 Days. Well, now I'm going to rabbit hole 13 Days, the movie, and see if any of that is correct. 13 Days in October. 13 Days, the movie. There it is. 13 Days, the film. It's a 2000 American historical political thriller directed by Roger Donaldson. Wasn't Ron Howard. Dramatizes the Cuban Missile Crisis, starring Kevin Costner as White House assistant Kenneth P. O'Donnell and Bruce Greenwood as Robert F. Kennedy. Yeah. And Canadian distribution was by Alliance Atlantis. So, yeah. That... there it is. Oh boy. And if I look up Lord of the Rings in 13 days, you know, it's just gonna be people. It took me 13 days to read them. 13 days. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting Lord of the Rings 13 Dwarves. Yep. Yeah, no, none of it. Doesn't come up. Anyway, that's what it was bundled with. Yeah, when did Lord of the Rings trailer debut? That's probably what I need to look up. I need to, look that up. And I think it was before that movie because I can't think of another reason why I would rush out to see 13 Days. Not a big Kevin Costner fan. I've never been his target audience, you know? So I get it. You know what else I get? I get, this is gonna be a terrible segue. I get refreshmymemory.ca. I don't know if you've heard the latest Refresh My Memory. We do the movie Holes. This is where me, Jason Dedrick, and Vicky Van, we talk about nostalgic films. We talk about movies that we saw when we were kids or knew of when we were kids, and now we're grown up. What was our original impression? What is our impression of it now? And then we make a tasty drink based on the film. Now, this was a movie that none of us had seen when we were kids because it came out when we were adults, and none of us had watched because it was a viewer request. And we did Holes, starring Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, I could see why kids of the age it is targeted for would have really liked it. Totally get it. I have no emotional connection to it, but I went, oh wow, there's some neat stuff in it. It has a really good cast. I mean, it's got Sigourney Weaver in it, so that makes it somewhat watchable, he says. They filmed the movie Tin Cup not but 20 miles away from your house. That means it's a good movie. Listen, that's the only reason why I saw the Tom Selleck film Runaway. Directed by Michael Crichton, of all people. And Gene Simmons is the bad guy, like the singer Gene Simmons, not the actress. And yeah, that's not a good movie, but it was shot in North Delta in my neighborhood. And there is a scene that I remember seeing them film when I was little. I remember seeing them setting up for the scene. Yeah, the Runaway. Did I ever hear about the Richard Kelly original version of Holes they wanted to do? Yes, I did. And it was insane. And I want to say that like he got fired and then like later on went, yeah, that was a good call. I don't know why did I do that? Like weird post-apocalyptic stuff. It was just, yeah. It's got enough weirdness to it. That it didn't need Richard Kelly's obscurantism. Yeah, it was going to be an R-rated post-apocalyptic movie. Don't need that for Holes. Holes, it was a more intense film than I was prepared for. Here's my thought. My first thought was, okay, it's called Holes. It's about these kids. They're digging a hole and they find a portal and wacky hijinks ensue. That's what I thought the movie was going to be. Because I guessed that based on Katie's love of films that involve a portal or a weird hole. Oh, there's a hole. Yeah. There's fucked up shit in the hole. Okay. Yeah. That's Katie's wheelhouse. And, Yeah. Oh, I cussed, didn't I? No. Oh, no one's going to see the stream. Yeah. So, and we watched a bunch of movies last week, and not all of them were great, but some of them were good. Some of them were rewatches. We did a Saturday morning. Yeah, I did not think it was going to be like an exploration of juvenile incarceration. Like, it was like, oh, so this movie's like child labor, and it's about racism. It's about like so much stuff, and that's why I wasn't prepared for how intense it would be. I was like, oh my god. Like the stuff with Dule Hill is amazing. He's a really good performer. I worked with him in one scene of a television show that he starred in. So I worked with him for like an afternoon. I did a scene with him on a TV show. That one was cool because it was directed by John Badham, who made Saturday Night Fever and Nick of Time and other movies, but and Stakeout and Short Circuit. I'm sure he's directed other movies I've heard of, but I just can't think of it right now. You know what I did watch that stands up that I think we should do and refresh my memory 100%. Boom. Office Space. That's a movie I hadn't seen in a while. 90s comedies, they don't always hold up, especially a lot of the terminology and language they use. There was maybe two where you're like, whoops, can't, that's not a good thing to say. Maybe twice, little things. Really, 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 really holds up. Yeah, because the humor is coming from the characters in the film. And that's what I find when a movie will hold up, comedy-wise, if the humor comes from the characters. Or slapstick. When I teach stuff related to comedy, when I teach comedy, I tell people that comedy has an expiry date. It absolutely does. It just depends on what that expiry date is. The only exceptions are fart jokes and slapstick. Since the beginning of time, farts have been funny. They will always be funny. Since the beginning of time, somebody else bumping into something has been funny, and it will always be funny. It just will. That's why you can watch Buster Keaton stuff from 100 years. That's why you can watch a Harold Lloyd film from 100 years ago and still burst out laughing. There's no, like, the jokes you're like, the jokes, like any sort of verbal joke obviously is written down on the title cards. But I still watch like a Harold Lloyd movie and I will laugh. I will also say, holy crap, I can't believe he survived. But there's a lot of really witty stuff that in a lot of movies from the early talkies that are still good, that still work. I saw a movie called High Pressure, starring William Powell. It was okay, but there were some really funny, witty lines in it that are still laughed at, which is nice. But yeah, long live the Three Stooges. And here's the thing about Three Stooges. I never really connected with the Three Stooges. I connected with the Marx Brothers, which, if you want to talk about verbal humor, and a lot of it still works, is that Chico's stuff, not as much. Harpo's stuff, when he's not being, gross to the ladies, he's got some really funny stuff. And of course, Groucho is Groucho. I mean, he says some of the greatest lines ever uttered in a movie. The stuff that ages like milk is any stuff that relies on pop culture references. Sometimes it can still age well if that pop culture thing is still relevant, or if you remember what that pop culture thing was. I'm trying to think of when I was like, oh my, it was like a movie from quite a while ago, and they made some reference like, oh my God, how does that joke still work? I'm not as familiar with Zeppo. Definitely not familiar with Gummo, because Gummo, I think, was off camera. Gummo was publicity agent or something like that. I am, more the classic three. I saw like a lot of them when I was really little. I watched The Coconuts a couple of years ago. I really want to see Night at the Opera again. Excuse me a moment. But I did see an early movie that was advertised as the Three Stooges movie, but it wasn't a Three Stooges movie. And soup to nuts. The Three Stooges are supporting characters in it. They're the sort of comedy relief firefighters. So they hadn't fully come into their, fame yet, but you watch it like it's the Three Stooges. They're there. Which is, pretty great. But yeah, Night at the Opera I really liked. I remember really liking the Coconuts is the one with the hotel where Groucho runs a hotel. Zeppo's the brother in movies that doesn't make any jokes. Okay. Yeah. That's what I mean. I'm not super like, oh God, what was his thing? Was he funny? What was his? Cause he wasn't like Shemp, cause Shemp as a stooge did the work, right? As did, Curly's replacements, Curly Joe, and were there two Curly Joes? Because obviously there's Mo Howard and Larry Howard. Mo Howard, Larry Fine, Curly Howard, and Shemp Howard. So three of them were brothers. And then there was Larry, the violinist, who, if you're a Futurama fan, Billy West based Fry's voice on Larry from the Three Stooges. Now, next time you watch Three Stooges and you hear Larry talk, you're never going to unhear it. You're going to be like, oh my God, that's Philip J. Fry. Okay, so he was in Duck Soup, one I have not seen since early teens, probably. Zeppo. Always ended up playing the boring lead. Oh, yeah, because there was always like the sort of milksop couple, right? There's always like the two lovers that aren't the Marx Brothers, and they've got like some romance going, and the Marx Brothers are helping out. And they're always boring and forgettable. I have to correct you on this, my friend. Zoidberg is who he's based on. Zoidberg is based on a bit Jackie Mason, which is why they got Jackie Mason to play Zoidberg's dad. But yeah, it is 100%, Larry Fine. But if you hear Larry Fine's voice, he was like, when's he going to say, shut up and take my money? But yeah. So Zoidberg is a little bit Jackie Mason, probably some other, he's basically, a Borscht Belt comic, right? The Jackie Mason character who is, dad or whatever it was in Futurama. Yeah. Zoidberg is based on Larry. If you listen to Zoidberg's voice, there's no Larry Fine in there. But the whoop, 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 whoop is definitely that happens in The Simpsons too. And, there's a really great MST3K where Frank does it. If you listen to Fry's voice and you listen to Larry's voice and you listen to Zoidberg's voice, you're going to go, oh no. Zoidberg is, definitely, let me see if I can find anything documented proof on this. Because, I'm sure that there are some public domain shorts. I can, here we go. Let's see if I can find the thing here. Oh my gosh. For some reason, it's also taking frizzy, because I looked at Fry, Larry Fine, and the word frizzy for some reason is also coming up as Fry. He's definitely got more Larry Fine in Fry than in old Zoidberg. Because what does Zoidberg sound like? Why not both? Right? Well, nothing for Zoidberg. Like he's kind of got that deal going, whereas Fry and Larry are very nasal. No relation to the Primus album Frizzle Fry, and of course, no relation to the Magic School Bus's Miss Frizzle. Applause goes here. Yeah, that would be weird if Billy West said that Zoidberg was based on Larry Fine, because there's no voice similarity there, but there absolutely is with Fry.
Yeah. What are we looking at for time? It's about 20 after 11. Should get going pretty soon. Got to get some writing done. Like I said, did 1,800 words yesterday. And I'm trying to figure out Obsidian. Is anybody out there using Obsidian to, oh gosh, should I say optimize my workflow? No, I'm not going to say that. That's gross. I'm not going to say optimize my workflow. Who says that? Not I. I can tell you that. Tell you that much. Not I, or not me either. Just to organize my crap. It's like a note-taking thing. It's called Obsidian. Been looking stuff up, and what I'm trying to find is, hey, here's how to be simple with it. And so many of it is like, hey, I made a template. You should buy it. I know I don't need to rethink my life. What I need to do is organize the life that I have. Don't need to rethink it. I need to deal with the crap I have. Nothing new, just what I got. So I'm going to try this Obsidian thing. See if it works. I can sync it, I think, across. I don't know. I'm boring myself talking about it, which is from The Office, not Office Space, a movie. Like I said, still holds up. It's pretty great, pretty funny. Jennifer Aniston's very, very good in it. I saw it in the theater. I'm the only person I've ever met who saw it in the theater opening day. And I was the only person in the theater when I saw it opening day. In fact, I might have even seen it before opening day because I had a free pass. I might have seen it the day before it opened, and then nobody else bothered to go to the theater to see Office Space for free. And yeah, I don't think it did well in the theater. It wasn't until video that it became the classic, the well-deserved classic that it is. All right. Speaking of classics, I got a classic for you. I got to have some food. There you go. You said you saw it in the theater too, because you're a Beavis and Butthead fan. It was a pretty empty theater. Yeah. And I think the one I saw was like a noon show. Might have been a noon on a Thursday. Beginning to see why it was. Yeah. Loved it. When it came out, I showed other people. I'd like to think I helped spread the word. Loved Milton. And I did remember the SNL animations of Milton. Cause it's technically, now I don't know if the Milton shorts were made specifically for SNL or if they were made by Mike Judge and then they were bought, like licensed by SNL. So I can't say that it is one of the best SNL based movies. I got to look into that more before I spout my mouth off about that nonsense. So you said you enjoyed it, but you appreciate it more when you're old enough to start working. Yeah. So I saw it when it came out. Was it 99? I was, Office Space movie 99. It came out. There we go. February 19th, 1999. And it, let me go to box office. It was, it made $7 million in the theaters. But yeah, I mean, it became huge. There we go on home. And then, yeah, anyway, the movie, I was just about to start work at an internet company in a job I was not qualified for. I like the billing department of a internet domain registration company that was, if you look at February 99, on the cusp, it was cusping of going public. And this is when like stuff was going public and everybody working at place were like, well, I can retire now. My shares are worth this. And they're like, listen, when we go public, you'll get some shares. Don't worry. We'll all get rich off of this. So we all took a pay cut. Oh boy, did I get conned. It was February 99. And so I wound up working there and getting promoted to, they had a subsidiary company and I became like, I was doing the billing for one company and I was also, assistant fraud manager. So I worked in fraud there. And then for for two of their subsidiary companies, they made me both head of billing and fraud manager. And I had no idea how to do billing. I don't know. I had no idea what I was doing. I would fill out numbers. If the numbers lined up, that was great. And I'd come home and they'd say, "Hey, Eric, how was your day?" I'd be wearing a tie and everything. And I'd say, "Oh, it's the Anderson account again." You know those jobs when you see TV shows and the dad comes home and is like, "Oh, it's the Anderson account. Oh, I guess I was dealing with the Anderson account today." That was what it was. It was like this kind of bullcrap job where I was doing that. The fraud stuff was exciting. The fraud stuff was interesting. The fraud stuff, I got to deal directly with a lot of interesting things. I remember when the FBI showed up and handed me the paper and like, "We need printouts of all this person's stuff." I'm like, "Okay, checks out." And yeah, we burned out a laser printer because we were printing out so much stuff for the FBI while they were waiting in the office. I was like, "Oh my God, that's the FBI. What are they doing here?" Well, it's not for me. But yeah, I got a lot of stories of way back then doing having to call up customers who registered very adult domain names and double checking that they actually did it. And that was hilarious. "Did you register a domain with us?" "Yes, I did." "Can you tell me the domain?" "Why don't you tell me the domain?" "No, you tell me the domain. I don't want to say it." And then I would have to say these horrible things, and they were like, "Yeah, that's me." Or they were like, "I have to talk to my son." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I did not. Okay, so we should cancel your credit card." I was like, "Well, wait, my son had my credit card. What's the name of the domain?" "It's this, and this, and this." "Oh, I see." Those were wild days. And then I need to tell a lengthier version of this, but I'm very hungry. But let me tell you what happened to the company. So the company was about to go public, and then the bubble burst, and it burst hard. So it's like, "Hey, yeah, we're going to be rich. We're going to be rich. We're going to be rich." Okay, we're going to wait a few weeks. We're going to wait a month before going up. We're going to, boom. And it's just plummeting, right? The everybody's like, it's insane how bad it is. And as the value of the company is just taking a nosedive, we get bought up by this other company. So now we're not getting the shares, because these guys are already public. Like, you can have shares of our stuff. And before I quit that job, I had never heard of a reverse stock split before. That means, say if you've got two shares and they're each worth $5. Oh, now you've got one share that's worth $5. And when I say $5, I'm giving you a much higher number. When I quit, they had done at least one reverse stock split, and their shares were worth about 15 cents. And they got kicked off the NASDAQ after I left. They just got kicked off the stock exchange. They're like, you're worthless. Get out. So the company that bought us was absolutely, yeah. And also, I think I found out that one of the big investors in that company was we'll say, I don't want to say religion, but I'll say an organization that is taxed as a religion, that was started by a science fiction author. And I'll leave it at that. So it was a weird time. And then I was like out of a job. It was the year 2000. And I'm just like, do I go back to the video store? What the hell do I do? And then
I wound up getting a job at a damn call center. So I still had like a grown up job. And then by 2005, I quit my job and became a comedian. 21 years later, I'm sitting in my living room as a digital busker. All right, folks. Yeah. It's 11:30 my time. I think it's time I get myself some 11sies. I had a bowl of oatmeal and a big coffee. Time for another little meal. And I want to get to work because, like I said, I've got a show on March 11th at Little Mountain Gallery. Tickets are not available yet, but they will be available at ericfell.com/tickets. And they should be up in the next couple of days. I don't have a name for the show yet, but that's my day. I'm meeting with Ian Boothby. We're going to talk about what we call the show. We're going to talk about the stuff, and then we're going to put the show together. Tickets should be available. Next Critical Hit show is April 29th. Tickets are not available for that yet either. We'll get on that. We'll get the venue on that. So I have no tickets for live events available right now, but what I do have is coffee.com/Eric Fell. If you're in a position to support the channel, you can do so by going to coffee.com/Eric. You think, hey, Eric's stuff is pretty good. It's worth a couple of bucks. Why not? In fact, I'm also putting together a Patreon. It's going to be patreon.com/Eric Fell. It's going to be that. There's nothing up there yet. There's no tiers or anything. No tears for Caesar. There's no tiers or anything yet. There will be some paid tiers. There's no posts yet. I plan on doing the next few days so that within the next month, what I'm going to do is I want to, before I formally launch it with tiers and stuff like that, I want to make sure there's enough stuff up there to make it worth it for everybody. I want some stuff in the, as they say, in the can before launching the Patreon, but I will be launching the Patreon. And if you know anyone who you might think digs my stuff, send them to the Discord, send them to the YouTube channel. I hate marketing things. I hate it. I still do believe that word of mouth, even online word of mouth, is the best way to do things. And the best way to get good word of mouth is to make good work. So I'm doing my best to make good work so that you'll enjoy it. And then you'll tell other people who enjoy it. And then, have some fun. All right, folks. You are awesome. I thank you so much for your support. I love hanging out here with you. I know we lost a lot of people on Twitch when we moved from Twitch. And I know there's a bunch of people who couldn't make it today. I'll put a poll in the Discord. Once I figure that out, what's the best way to do this or best day to do this? And we'll go from there. Have yourselves a fantastic week. I'll be in the Discord too, kicking around, doing stuff. You're all amazing. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the future. Thanks. Bye.